The Accidental Prime Minister, Chapter 13, Park Life. It was a gloriously sunny day and Joe was feeling pretty good about life. Yesterday he'd stopped a war. Today he was going to reopen his beloved park. By midday, a huge crowd had gathered by the gates, all waiting for the grand opening. There was a carnival atmosphere, adults and kids getting their faces painted, fairground rides and a band. Joe and AJ arrived by jetpack just as Jenkins and Joe's mum pulled up in the limo. Joe undid his pack and gazed through the gates. It was such a huge change from the last time they were there. The bulldozers had gone, the grass had been fixed and the playground rebuilt, bigger and better. There was a huge bouncy castle, a massive sandpit and giant curly slides. "You did it, Joe," AJ smiled. "You actually did it." "We did it," Joe said, looking at all the happy faces everywhere. Well, almost everywhere. At the back of the park, in the shadow of a big oak tree, was a woman dressed in black from head to toe, with a single brooch pinned to her top glinting in the sunshine. She was wearing a hoodie with the hood pulled down low and had a black rucksack on her back. When no one was looking, she slinked round the park fence and pulled a pair of wire cutters from her bag. She gave one last look around as she snipped into the fence before scurrying back into the trees. Next, she pulled out a fake dog poo and a spanner from her top pocket. "Let's see how well your grand opening goes after I get busy with this lot, Perkins," Violetta hissed. "Mum, it's time," Joe said excitedly. "AJ, do you have the oversized comedy scissors?" "Right here, boss." Joe walked over to the microphone, flanked by AJ and Mum. "Today is a very special day because not only have we got our park back, but my mum has her job back too. I used to play here all the time when I was a kid. I mean, I still am a kid, but when I was even smaller, this place meant the world to me. AJ and me would spend hours here kicking a ball around or playing hide and seek. 150 games undefeated, AJ yelled before doing a fist pump. "Oops, sorry," Joe smiled. "Anyway, as you all know, all I ever wanted to do was save this place so kids like me could enjoy it. Parks shouldn't be knocked down to build flats on. We want more parks, not fewer. And so it gives me great pleasure to ask my mum, the park's chiefest of wardens, to do the honour of cutting the ribbon." Joe's mum's face was a giddy mixture of happiness and self-consciousness. She gave Joe a kiss and ruffled his hair. "Mum," Joe whined with slight embarrassment. "I now declare the new park open, God bless her, and all that sail in her." "That's ships, Mum," Joe whispered. "Oops. Oh well, have a good time, everyone." "Now, I reckon we should let our new Prime Minister be the first one to try the bouncy castle." "Oh, I dunno." "Go on, Prime Minister," came a voice from the crowd. Joe turned round. There was something familiar about that voice, but then the rest of the crowd joined in and Joe forgot all about it. "Oh, okay." Joe ran over to the bouncy castle and hopped on board. He began to bounce and couldn't help letting out a few wheeze as he leapt higher and higher. "Come on, everyone, let's see how high we can go." Within moments, the whole place was jumping. Literally. "Perfect timing, PM," Violetta cackled. She pulled the brooch out and looked at the light shimmering off the pin before stabbing it into the back of the bouncy castle. Kaboom! There were pieces of bouncy castle flying through the air in every direction, landing on people's faces like a hot, rubbery custard pie. Everyone, boys, girls and grown-ups, were flung in every direction when the bouncy castle exploded. One old lady landed by the ice cream van, knocking the entire queue over like a set of fleshy dominoes. Violetta hurried over to the sandpit and flung the fake poo in like a grenade. "Ew!" one toddler screamed. "Someone's done ploppy in the sand!" "That's disgusting!" a parent shouted. "Did your child do that? You should be ashamed. This is why I hate fun." "How dare you? My son didn't do that. Perhaps it was yours." A huge row erupted in the sandpit, with mums and dads screaming at each other, throwing sand in great big fistfuls. "What's happening?" AJ yelled. "I don't know," Joe's mum replied. "Help! I can't get out of this In the chaos, Violetta crawled on hands and knees to the candy floss machine and unscrewed a pipe. Within seconds, the machine was spinning out of control, flinging candy floss in every direction. A bald man got it all over his head. He looked like he was wearing a sticky pink wig. Joe had been flung from the bouncy castle when it exploded and was now wedged between the balloon stand and the stall where you won a giant teddy if you hooked a tiny duck on a stick the size of a pole vault. He watched open-mouthed as his dream of saving the park turned into a nightmare. He felt helpless. There was a fight in the sandpit. The bouncy castle had blown up, and people were running around in a panic covered from head to toe in candy floss. And, to make matters worse, there were gaping holes in the fence. Those jagged edges were a health and safety nightmare. "None of this would have happened if the Prime Minister hadn't jumped so high," one man yelled. "Yeah, he was having too much fun, and now look what's happened. He's ruined it," a mother yelled. "This is why I don't like Joe Valenti. It always goes wrong," someone else joined in. Oh dear. Oh dear. "But I wasn't jumping too high. I mean, I didn't mean to. I was just having a laugh," Joe called, trying to free himself and knocking over the coconut shy in the process. "A laugh?" the man with the candy floss on his head yelled. "Do I look funny to you?" "No. Well, a little. I mean, I'm sorry. I just want people to enjoy themselves," Joe tried to explain. "You want to enjoy yourself, but what about the rest of us?" a woman shrieked. "One rule for us, another rule for them," another person said. "I thought he was different. But, oh, Prime Minister," the woman in black yelled. "Smile, please, for your #1 fan." Joe automatically turned round and gave the best grin he could muster. "I'm sorry, I don't have any time for any more pictures. I just need to sort this mess out." "I think it's time to leave," Jenkins said, helping Joe to his feet. "You better let your mother and me deal with this. There are too many press people here, and we don't want your picture all over the papers." Violetta slipped her camera back into the bag and ran through the trees towards the fence. She squeezed her bony body through the gap and out into the streets. Pulling down her hood, she grabbed her phone from her bag and began to dial. "Hi, it's me. I have a picture you might be interested in. The Prime Minister grinning like a fool in the middle of a disaster he is responsible for."